Hello, Galaxy. I'm Chris Perillo, and I'm going to talk about my Galaxy, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, which I've been using for, I don't even know, honestly, because one day kind of blends into the next. I unboxed this at live.perillo.com, did my initial impressions, Perillo impressions? At live.perillo.com, and thought I'd talk about it in a non-reviewy kind of way, because let's face it, you've made up your mind. You know you're not going to get it, you know you are going to get it, you're going to wait to get it. You've made up your mind. You don't need to see another review. So this is going to be a very non-review. It's just going to be kind of what I think about moving from the S21 Ultra to the S22 Ultra to the S23 Ultra. And I would say it's an upgrade, for sure. But as I expected before getting the S23 Ultra, it wasn't going to feel dramatically different. And lo and behold, it really doesn't feel dramatically different. I will say that if it is faster, and I assume it is faster, and there are efficiencies that I believe have made battery life rather amazing, most of it just kind of melts away into the background, like especially if you're moving from a previous gen to the current gen. Unless, of course, you were moving from an Exynos processor to the Snapdragon processor, then you probably saw a bigger leap in performance. I had moved from a Snapdragon because I live in the USA. So moving from the S22 Ultra to the S23, by and large, has been seamless. And I like that. It was a comfortable upgrade. And I don't think I could go back to using the S22 Ultra, if only because of battery life. And the funny thing is, battery life has never been something that I was all that interested in. Like when it comes to phones, I never really paid attention to battery life. But this has worked remarkably well. Certainly a departure from previous gen Galaxy Ultra devices. I see that there's really no room but to grow with everything that Samsung has been throwing into their devices. And we're going to be seeing, I think, over the coming months, I just got the latest patch for February 2023. In the coming months, I think we're going to see even more Bixby on the phone. Now, this is the thing. Bixby's kind of not been something that people have wanted to use. For good reason. I mean, if you have a Google device, you're probably using Google Assistant. Or if you're using an Apple device, unfortunately, you're still using Siri. Maybe that'll get a good kick in the pants at some point in the future. I don't know. But Bixby may be on the precipice of being great for the first time. And it's only because Samsung has started to integrate Bixby features and functionality, not just Bixby routines, which might be worth using if you're a power user on your Samsung device, but specifically within the phone. Now, I had previously used a Pixel device, and the way that Google worked with it is you could answer the phone by using your Google Assistant, or the Pixel would handle the call and answer the call for you. Now you can do that on your Samsung device. In fact, Samsung's kicked it up a notch, and a new feature that's going to be rolling out, powered by Bixby, is to be able to text with the person that you're talking to on the phone. Talking to, using potentially your voice as recreated in AI. So I think for me, as a Samsung user now, I have to admit it, there is not really turning back. I could turn forward and find another device at some point in the future, but I think what's most compelling to me about the S23 Ultra isn't necessarily what it is today, but what I believe we're going to see coming from Samsung over the next few months with this device, if not years. We already know that Samsung has great software support lasting, 4 years? That's really unparalleled, at least as far as most Android devices are concerned, or Android experiences. I don't plan on holding onto it for more than a year. But knowing full well that they're likely, given the buzz around AI, going to be pushing out Bixby feature after feature, this device is going to get better over time. And it's already a solid device. The battery life's been great. Screen, can't complain about. Haven't dropped it yet, so I haven't had a chance to test the Gorilla Glass Victus 2. But that leads me to another thing that I wanted to talk about. Some of these features that are in the phone may not sound interesting to you on paper, or may not seem like much of an upgrade, but they matter when they matter. And talking about that screen, the actual glass, that only matters when I drop the phone, which I don't want to do. But that's when it matters, because that's when you want the strongest glass that you could possibly get. So Gorilla Glass Victus 2 is about as good as it can get. And so I hope, and this would be my third Samsung phone that would have been a daily driver. I won't drop it because I haven't cracked the Samsung screen yet. So if this makes it even better. So the software is set to improve, even though it's good now. The hardware is sorry, screensaver kicked in. Needed to have a call for help there. Live.Perillo.com is back. Live.Perillo.com right there. Yeah, I feel that the photos have been fine. I don't think that by and large they have been a bigger leap over previous generations. I still feel Samsung needs to dial back the sharpness a bit. Some scenes, as I've shared in social, have been a little over sharpened by default. But the camera, I'm more than happy with. The video capabilities, I wasn't thinking, I'd be a user of the 8K video, but I finally found a use case for 8K video. I'm going to try to do like weekly what's on my desk tours. And I thought, well, why not shoot it in 8K video? Because I've got an 8K video camera now. And people seem to like it. So I'm like, okay, I'll just keep doing it. So I'm actually, for the first time, genuinely happy with a high-end video capability on a phone. I wasn't shooting wasn't shooting a lot in 4K, wasn't planning on shooting in 8K, and now I am. Now see, it fits. I can make it work. Everything about it, performance-wise, has been about the same. I would say routine tasks are a little snappier. Samsung still needs to work on their animations. They're not quite what they need to be. The fluidity is better, but Samsung does their own things with animations, and I wish they wouldn't. I wish they just leave that alone, or have it tied into the system so that when I adjust settings in developer options, it's applied everywhere, and Samsung doesn't do that. And that's never more prevalent than when you switch between a Samsung device with those options on and, let's say, a Google Pixel. Now, the performance between those two devices are like night and day, and let's not even get into the performance of the Google Pixel right now, especially as far as like screen judderiness and weird animations on the Pixel for different reasons. The Samsung device has been a champion. I knew that it was something that I was going to be happy with. I am happy with it. I have no reason to switch. I feel, though, I'm in a constant state of play, looking to see what's going to happen next. But at this stage, something dramatically bad would need to happen with the Samsung line of products, specifically their flagships. Bad in my eyes, something that I did not want, something that I would not wish to have. Something bad would need to happen, or something really awesome would need to happen elsewhere. And I don't see that happening, at least within the Android sphere. And I certainly don't see iOS rebooting anytime soon, which is unfortunate, because I really would like to use iOS again, at least use it and interact with it. I use iOS every day. I use it as my continuity camera connected to my Mac when I'm streaming into live.Perillo.com. The phone itself, though, at least in the US, there's really no competition. I don't see it. I don't see any competition to this in the US at all as a flagship. It's like night and day between this and everything else. And you can de-Samsungify it 7 ways from Sunday. You can use Good Lock. I'd install Good Guardians if I were you, especially when you apply a software update. That, I don't believe, was psychosomatic in applying that. I turned off RAM Plus, so I set it to 0, and I feel that that's made things better because I really don't need any more memory. I don't need to requisition any space on the SSD to use as memory. I haven't felt a pinch. I can't say that I noticed a big change between having it on or having it off. I just generally turned it off. I feel I didn't need it, especially with 2 gigs on board. I feel like I'm not there. You may have a different experience with RAM Plus, but that's just been my use case. Haven't really used the S Pen at all. That's the whole, benefit for people who are moving from the Note. If I were to use it, it would probably be, click, as a Bluetooth remote, but I don't use it that way. So it's been a good device. It's been a solid device. I'm happy with it. I bought it with my own money. I'd have no problems recommending it to anybody who is looking into it. And again, that's not necessarily saying that this device is for everybody. It's not for everybody. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this device to some other people in my family. Like, it just wouldn't be the right device for them. But for me, man, I see this device and then everything else, at least here in the United States. Maybe one day soon we'll see stiffer competition with flagship devices here domestically, if not worldwide. But until then, I feel it's Samsung's race to lose. Everything about it has been a good experience for me. And I was expecting that moving from the S21 to the S22. It's just been this incremental improvement, just these small improvements that add up, and that's really the story of the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra.